welcome back. Or if you are new here, welcome to something different. This video covers the complete Halo timeline, every major event, every war, every choice. From the Forerunners 100,000 years ago to Master Chief's fight on Zeta Halo, the entire story in one place. But here's what they do not tell you in the games. The Spartans were kidnapped children. The AI we trusted became our greatest threat. The heroes we celebrate are broken weapons we aimed at our enemies. Billions died not because we were weak, but because we thought survival justified anything. The Halo rings were built by a species that chose extinction over defeat. We inherited their weapons and their mistakes. And now we face enemies that cannot die, cannot be reasoned with, cannot be stopped by anything except more violence. That cycle, that pattern, that curse is what this video is really about. And if you genuinely enjoy this kind of dark storytelling, consider subscribing and liking the channel, but only if it truly resonates with you. They told me the rings were salvation. They lied. I need you to understand something before we go any further. What I'm about to share with you, it will change how you see everything. The war, the sacrifices, the so-called heroes, all of it built on foundations of ash and secrets that should have stayed buried. My name does not matter anymore. What matters is that I was there. I saw things that Oni scrubbed from the reports, things that the UNSC never wanted you to know. So listen carefully, because by the time I am done, you will understand why humanity was always meant to burn. Let me take you back, not to the war you know, not to the Covenant or the Spartans or the desperate battles on distant worlds. Further, much further, to a time when humanity was not even a thought, to the age of the Forerunners. 100,000 years ago, give or take a few millennia, the Forerunners ruled the galaxy. Not just controlled it, ruled it. 3 million worlds bent to their will. They were gods in everything but name. Their technology made ours look like cave paintings. Their ships crossed the stars in heartbeats. Their constructs lasted for eons. And they were terrified. The flood came for them first. Not for us, for them. You need to understand what the flood really is. It is not just some parasite. It is revenge given form. It is the corrupted remains of something older than the Forerunners themselves. The precursors. The beings who came before everything. The Forerunners killed the precursors, wiped them out, committed genocide on a cosmic scale. They feared the precursors' power, so they destroyed them. Or so they thought. Some precursors survived. They transformed themselves into a powder, a genetic time bomb. They waited. Millions of years passed, and then ancient humanity found that powder scattered across distant worlds. We thought it was harmless. We tested it on animals, on pets, the Feru, little creatures that meant nothing to anyone. The powder seemed to improve them at first, made them stronger, better. Then the mutations began. It started small, fleshy growths, tentacle-like appendages. The Feru began to change, and then they began to spread it to other Feru, to humans, to the Sanshuum, who kept them as pets. This was around 107,000 years before the Common Era. Ancient humanity was not like us. They were advanced, spacefaring. They controlled thousands of worlds across the Orion Arm. They were rivals to the Forerunners in power and reach, and the flood was eating them alive. Humanity fought back. They burned entire worlds to stop the spread. They glassed planets that showed even the slightest infection. They became monsters to fight monsters, and in their desperation, they expanded their territory. They needed space, resources, worlds to retreat to that the flood had not touched, but they collided with Forerunner space. The Forerunners did not know about the flood. They only saw human aggression, worlds attacked, Forerunner citizens killed, so they retaliated. They declared war on humanity, a war that would last 1,000 years. Imagine fighting a war on two fronts, the flood consuming you from within, the Forerunners crushing you from without. Ancient humanity lasted far longer than they should have. They were brilliant warriors, tacticians. The Forerunners themselves considered them the greatest military power they had ever faced aside from their own might. But eventually, humanity fell. The capital at Charam Hakor was the last to surrender. The Didact, the Forerunner military commander, was merciless. He devolved the surviving humans, stripped away their civilization, reduced them to primitives, and scattered them across backwater worlds, like Earth. Only then did the Forerunners discover the truth. Humanity had not been expanding out of greed. They had been running from the flood, and they had found something the Forerunners never could, a way to fight it, a cure of sorts, or so the Forerunners believed. There was no cure. The flood had simply retreated, a tactical withdrawal. It let humanity think they had won. It let the Forerunners waste resources, trying to replicate a solution that never existed. And then the flood returned. Around 97,000 years before our time, the flood came back in force, not as scattered infections, as a unified intelligence, a grave mind, ancient, malevolent, calculating. The war that followed made the human conflict look like a skirmish. The Forerunners threw everything at the flood. Their fleets numbered in the thousands. Their soldiers were trained for millennia. They created the most advanced AI ever conceived, mendicant bias, a contender-class ancilla designed to combat the grave mind directly. It failed. Worse, it turned. The grave mind corrupted mendicant bias, infected its code with something they called the logic plague. It turned the Forerunners' greatest weapon against them. Mendicant bias defected to the flood, took control of installations, warships, entire fleets. The Forerunners were losing. World after world fell. Their 3 million colonies dwindled. The flood consumed faster than they could retreat. It turned their own people against them. Infected soldiers became weapons. Infected species became tools. The Didact tried everything. He built shield worlds, fortified planets hidden in slipspace bubbles, places the flood could not reach, places to launch counterattacks from. But it was not enough. So the builders proposed something else. Something terrible. The Halo Array. 7 rings, each one 318 kilometers in diameter, each one capable of wiping out all sentient life within 25,000 light-years. Together, they could sterilize the entire galaxy. The Didact opposed it. He believed it violated the mantle of responsibility, the Forerunner creed that demanded they protect all life. The rings were the opposite of protection. They were annihilation. But desperation changes everything. The builders won. The rings were constructed, and the Didact was imprisoned in a cryptum for opposing them. The librarian, his wife, spent the final years indexing, saving what she could. She traveled the galaxy ahead of the flood, documented species, collected specimens, stored them on the Ark, a massive installation outside the galaxy where the rings could be fired without affecting it. She saved humanity too. Primitive as we were, she saw something in us. Potential. The Forerunners had called us reclaimers, their chosen successors, the ones meant to inherit the mantle after they were gone. The final battle came at the capital, Maythrillion. The Forerunner throne world, Mendicant Bias, led a flood fleet directly to the heart of Forerunner civilization. The battle was brief, brutal. Maythrillion fell. The Forerunners retreated to the Ark. The Didact, a copy of the original Didact created before his imprisonment, took command. He made the choice no one wanted to make. He fired the rings on the day they call the Great Purification, 97,445 years before our time. The Halo Array activated. The pulse spread across the galaxy at superluminal speeds. It killed everything, every human, every elite, every grunt, every thinking creature, with enough biomass to sustain the flood. The Forerunners, the flood, all of it, gone, except for those on the Ark, the librarian's specimens, the index species, and a handful of Forerunners who remained to see their work complete. They reseeded the galaxy, released the specimens back to their homeworlds, let evolution take its course again. Some Forerunners went into exile, some simply faded away. A few remained in installations, monitors, AI caretakers for the rings, and humanity began again from scratch. Primitives, who would one day reach for the stars without knowing what their ancestors had been. The Forerunners left their constructs behind, shield worlds, data repositories, and the rings themselves, waiting, silent, ready to fire again if the flood ever returned. They left us the mantle of responsibility, whether we wanted it or not. Fast forward, 97,000 years pass. Humanity climbs back up. We discover slipspace travel. We colonize other worlds, Mars, the outer planets, then beyond. By the 24th century, we spread across hundreds of colony worlds. The unified Earth government formed. The UNSC emerged as its military arm. We thought we had conquered the stars. We were children playing with matches. The outer colonies rebelled. They called it the insurrection. Colonists tired of Earth's control, tired of regulations and corporate exploitation. They wanted freedom. The UNSC wanted control. The war was brutal. Thousands died. Entire stations were destroyed. The UNSC needed a solution, something to end the rebellion quickly and quietly. Dr. Catherine Halsey provided that solution. The Spartan-II program. She called it humanity's next step. The UNSC called it necessary. O&I called it classified. I call it what it was: child abduction on a military scale. Halsey identified children, 6 years old, selected for genetic markers, physical potential, mental adaptability. 75 children in total, kidnapped from their homes, their schools, their beds. They replaced them with flash clones, imperfect copies designed to die within months from organ failure, so the parents would never know. So the families would grieve and move on without asking questions. The children were taken to Reach, trained by a Spartan-I washout named Mendez and an AI instructor named Deja. They learned to fight, to kill, to obey orders without question. For 8 years, they trained: brutal physical conditioning, advanced education, psychological conditioning. They were children, shaped into weapons. At 14 years old, they underwent augmentation, carbide ceramic ossification, their bones laced with near indestructible material, muscular enhancement, catalytic thyroid implants, occipital capillary reversal. The procedures killed 30 of them outright. 12 more were crippled, paralyzed, discharged to Oni desk jobs where they could never speak about what happened to them. 33 survived. 33 children who became super soldiers, faster than any human, stronger, with reflexes measured in milliseconds. They were given MJOLNIR-powered armor, shields, weapons that could punch through starship hulls. They were perfection. They were 13 feet tall in armor. They could flip tanks, sprint at 55 kilometers per hour, react before enemy soldiers could pull triggers, and they were deployed against human rebels, against the insurrectionists, the UNSC's own species. The program worked too well. By 2525, the insurrection was effectively broken. Spartan strike teams had eliminated leadership, destroyed supply lines, crushed morale. The Spartans were ready for peace, for a chance to be human again. Some small part of them still remembered what that meant. Then the Covenant came, February 3rd, 2525. The agricultural world of harvest, population of 3 million, peaceful, quiet, far from any conflict zones. A Covenant missionary ship discovered it. The minor transgression. It detected what it thought were thousands of Forerunner relics. The signals came from humans. From our presence, the Covenant's Forerunner technology recognized us because we are reclaimers. The librarian made sure of that, encoded it in our DNA. The Covenant's own equipment told them that humans were the chosen inheritors of the Forerunners. The prophets knew what that meant. If the Covenant discovered that humans were the true reclaimers, their entire religion would collapse. The Great Journey, the belief that the botany, Forerunners would guide them to salvation, all of it based on a lie. So the prophets made a choice. They declared humanity an affront to the gods. They ordered our extermination, every man, every woman, every child. Genocide on a galactic scale. They sent the rapid conversion to Harvest, a cruiser commanded by a brute named Maccabeus. The colonists tried to negotiate, tried to establish peaceful contact. The Covenant opened fire. Harvest had minimal military presence, a handful of militia, no warships, no defenses worth mentioning. They had no chance. The Covenant glassed the colony from orbit. Superheated plasma burned the surface, turned oceans to steam, reduced cities to molten glass. Some escaped. Civilian freighters evacuated what they could, but millions died. Millions who never knew why, never understood what they had done to deserve annihilation. What do you think really happened here? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would like to know if I am the only one who feels this way. The UNSC sent scout ships. The Argo arrived first. It was destroyed before it could retreat. Then they sent a battle group. 4 ships. The Covenant destroyed 3 of them. The survivor limped back to UNSC space with a message. Your destruction is the will of the gods, and we are their instrument. The war had begun. Humanity just did not know how badly we were outmatched. The Covenant had superior technology. Their ships were faster, more powerful. Their weapons burned through UNSC vessels like paper. Their shields absorbed our rounds without flinching, and they had numbers. The Covenant was not one species. It was dozens, united under a religious hierarchy. Elites, brutes, grunts, jackals, hunters, drones, all of them fanatical. All of them committed to humanity's destruction. The UNSC mobilized. Vice Admiral Preston Cole was given command of the largest fleet ever assembled, Battle Group X-Ray, over 40 ships, the best humanity had to offer. He retook Harvest in 25-26, but it took months of brutal fighting. The Covenant did not surrender. They never surrendered. Every battle was to the death, and even when we won, we lost more ships than we could afford. The pattern repeated. The Covenant found colony after colony, sometimes from captured nav data, sometimes from their luminary devices that detected Forerunner artifacts, which meant they detected us. They glassed worlds faster than we could evacuate them. Thousands died, then millions, then billions. Entire planets rendered lifeless. Their atmospheres burned away. Their surfaces turned to radioactive deserts of glass. The UNSC implemented the Cole Protocol. Any ship that encountered the Covenant had to purge navigation data before it was captured. No coordinates to Earth, no trails leading to the inner colonies. If a ship could not escape, it had to self-destruct. Better to die than to lead the Covenant home. The Spartans were redeployed, not against rebels anymore. Against the Covenant, they became humanity's best weapon. Strike teams that could turn the tide of ground battles, surgical strikes on command centers, assassinations of enemy leaders. The Covenant began calling them demons, supernatural, impossible. Individual Spartans killed hundreds of Covenant soldiers. They became legends, ghosts that haunted battlefields. But even they could not stop the tide. For every world we saved, 5 more burned. For every victory, 10 defeats. By 2535, the outer colonies were gone, glassed, dead. Hundreds of worlds reduced to tombs. The inner colonies were next. I need to stop for a moment. Take a breath. You need to understand the scale of what I am describing. This was not a war. This was extermination. The Covenant did not want territory. They did not want resources. They wanted us dead, every last one of us. And we barely understood why. The Spartans kept fighting. Master Chief John 117, Kelly 087, Fred 104, Linda 058, dozens more. They won battles we should have lost. They saved millions, but they could not save everyone. By 2552, the war had raged for 27 years. Billions were dead. Hundreds of colonies were ash. The UNSC was on the verge of collapse. Then the Covenant found Reach. Reach was not just another colony. It was the UNSC's largest military stronghold outside of Earth, the center of fleet operations, the training ground for Spartans, home to orbital dockyards, defense platforms, hundreds of ships. If Reach fell, Earth was next. I will tell you what happened at Reach. The desperate last stand, the sacrifice of Noble Team, the escape of the Pillar of Autumn, how Master Chief discovered the first Halo ring. But that comes later. First, you need to understand what we were fighting. The Covenant was not just an enemy, they were a revelation, a prophecy fulfilled. The Forerunners built the rings to stop the flood, but the rings were still there, active, waiting, and the Covenant wanted to use them. They called it the Great Journey, a path to godhood, ascension through holy fire. They believed activating the Halos would transform them, elevate them to divine status. They were wrong. The rings do one thing. They kill everything, everywhere. That is their function, their only function, and the Covenant was going to fire them. If they succeeded, the galaxy would die. Every species, every world, all life extinguished in a single coordinated pulse. Master Chief did not know that yet. Neither did anyone else. But we were about to find out. But I need you to say continue first, because once we cross that threshold, there is no going back. You will see the truth, all of it, the ugly parts, the parts they erased from the history books. Are you ready? Good. You are still listening. That means something. It means you want to understand. Let me tell you about the fall of Reach. July 2552, the Covenant found it. A massive fleet, the combined fleet of resplendent immolation, hundreds of ships, more firepower than the UNSC had ever faced in one place. The UNSC had defense platforms, orbital MAC cannons, the home fleet, hundreds of vessels. It should have been enough. It was not. Noble Team was on the ground, a special operations unit, 5 Spartan-II and 1 Spartan-II. They had been fighting on Reach for weeks before the main invasion. Covenant scouts, advance forces. They thought they were dealing with isolated incursions. They were wrong. The Covenant had been planning this for months. Noble 6, the newest member, hyper-lethal. That was the official designation. Oni rated only 2 Spartans as hyper-lethal. 6 was one. Master Chief was the other. Noble Team fought to protect critical installations, relay stations, defense grids, anything that could help the orbital defense. They knew it was hopeless. You could see it in their movements, in their tactical decisions. One by one, they died. Jorge 052 sacrificed himself aboard a Covenant carrier. He used a slipspace drive as a bomb, thought he saved Reach, died believing he succeeded. Then, more Covenant ships arrived. His death meant nothing in the grand scheme. Cat B-320 was shot by a Covenant sniper through her shields during an EMP blackout. One round, she died instantly. The second, in command, gone. Carter A-259 drove a Pelican into a Covenant Scarab to clear a path for the others. Kamikaze run. He bought them minutes, maybe less. Emil A-239 was torn apart by elite zealots at a mass driver installation. He held them off long enough for the Pillar of Autumn to escape, died with an energy sword through his chest. Noble 6 stayed behind. Someone had to manually operate the MAC cannon. Someone had to ensure the Autumn made it to orbit. 6 volunteered, fought off waves of Covenant forces alone. They lasted for hours, then days, killing hundreds, thousands maybe, until the armor cracked, until the shields failed, until the Covenant finally brought them down. Noble 6 died on Reach, buried under a pile of elite corpses. The planet was glassed days later. 6's sacrifice bought humanity time. Not much, but enough. The Pillar of Autumn escaped with one very important passenger, Master Chief John 117, and his AI companion Cortana. Cortana had coordinates extracted from a Forerunner artifact on Sigma Octanus 4. The artifact had been discovered weeks earlier. It pointed to something, somewhere important. Captain Jacob Keyes made a blind jump to those coordinates. Anything to escape the Covenant, anything to avoid leading them to Earth. The Autumn dropped out of slipspace near a massive ring structure, 318 kilometers in diameter. Artificial, ancient, beautiful, in a terrible way. Installation 04, Alpha Halo. The Covenant fleet that had pursued them from Reach arrived immediately. The fleet of particular justice, led by a Sanghili named Thel Vadami. He would later become important, later become the arbiter. The battle was brief. The Autumn was outnumbered, outgunned. Keyes ordered an emergency landing on the ring. Evacuated crew sent Master Chief to protect Cortana. The ring was habitable, breathable atmosphere, gravity, forests, mountains, valleys. It looked like paradise. Scattered UNSC survivors regrouped, established defensive positions, waited for rescue that was not coming. Master Chief and Cortana explored the installation, searched for the ring's control center, encountered Covenant forces everywhere. The Covenant was worshipping the ring, calling it sacred. They thought it was a gateway to the Great Journey. Cortana accessed Forerunner data systems, discovered the truth. The ring was a weapon. Not a gateway, not salvation, a weapon designed to destroy all sentient life in a massive radius. But there was more. Something else on the ring. Something the Forerunners had contained, studied, kept locked away for 100,000 years. The Flood. Covenant forces breached a containment facility, released something they could not understand, could not fight. The Flood spilled out, started infecting, converting, spreading. Master Chief encountered them in a swamp. Bodies everywhere, human, Covenant, all mutated, shambling, screaming, combat forms with limbs twisted into weapons, infection forms leaping at anything with a pulse. This was the nightmare the Forerunners died to stop. This was why they built the rings. The Flood consumed everything, friend, enemy. It did not discriminate. It just spread. Exponential growth. Every body was a potential host. Every host became a weapon. Captain Keyes was captured by the Flood, converted into something else. His mind absorbed, his memories stolen. The Flood learned everything Keyes knew. Earth's location, UNSC fleet movements, everything. Master Chief found what remained of him. Barely recognizable, fused to other Flood forms, still screaming somewhere, inside. Chief had to retrieve Keyes' neural implants from the remains, had to reach into the infection and pull out what was left. I cannot imagine that, cannot fathom looking at your commanding officer turned into that thing, but Chief did it because the mission required it. 343 Guilty Spark appeared, the monitor of Installation 04, an AI left by the Forerunners to maintain the ring. He was cheerful, helpful, called Master Chief Reclaimer, needed help activating the ring to stop the Flood. Cortana discovered the truth first. Activation meant death for everything within the ring's radius, the Flood, the Covenant, humanity, every living thing. Guilty Spark confirmed it. Defensive measures, containment protocols, sacrifice a solar system to save the galaxy. Standard Forerunner doctrine. Master Chief refused, found another way. If they could not fire the ring, they could destroy it. Detonate the Pillar of Autumn's fusion reactors, create a chain reaction, blow the installation apart. They fought through Covenant and Flood, reached the Autumn's engine room, set the reactors to overload. Guilty Spark tried to stop them, called it a crime against the mantle, sent sentinels to intervene. Chief and Cortana escaped on a longsword fighter, seconds before the ring detonated. The explosion was visible from orbit. Installation 04 tore itself apart. Fragments scattered across the system. The Flood was contained. For now, the Covenant fleet was crippled, and Master Chief was the only Spartan to survive, or so everyone thought. They returned to Earth, received medals, debriefings. The UNSC called it a victory. Humanity had destroyed a Halo ring, stopped the Covenant from activating it, but the Covenant learned where Earth was, a single ship, the Prophet of Regret's assault carrier. It arrived in the Sol system in October 2552. The Prophet of Regret had not expected Earth to be humanity's homeworld. He thought it was a minor colony. He arrived with only 15 ships, nowhere near enough to take Earth. The battle happened mostly over New Mombasa, Africa. Lord Hood commanded the defense. Master Chief and other Spartans were deployed groundside. The fighting was brutal. Close quarters, urban warfare. Regret's ship jumped to slipspace from inside the city. The slipspace rupture devastated New Mombasa. Millions died in the collapse. UNSC ships followed Regret through the portal. They arrived at another Halo ring, Installation 05, Delta Halo, larger, more intact, still fully functional. Master Chief followed Regret to a temple, killed the Prophet, drove an armored fist through his face. The first High Prophet to die in the war, but killing Regret started something worse. The Covenant fractured, political turmoil. The Prophets blamed the elites for Regret's death, replaced them with brutes as the honor guard, betrayed them. The Great Schism began. Civil war within the Covenant. Elites versus brutes. The Prophets chose their side. They sided with the brutes, ordered the extermination of all elites. Thel Vadame had been branded a heretic, marked for death for losing Installation 04. The Prophets tortured him, branded him, then offered him redemption as an arbiter, a warrior sent on suicide missions to die with honor. Instead, he discovered the truth. The Prophets were liars. The Great Journey was a lie. The rings were weapons, not salvation. The Arbiter switched sides, allied with humanity, with Master Chief. Together, they fought both the brutes and the Flood, because the Flood had returned. Again, stronger this time, with a grave mind, the same intelligence that had corrupted mendicant bias 100,000 years ago. The grave mind had survived Installation 04's destruction. Fragments reached Delta Halo, reconstituted, started spreading again. It captured Master Chief and the Arbiter, held them for a moment, spoke to them, explained the truth. The Covenant religion was built on misunderstanding. The Forerunners did not ascend. They died. The rings killed them. Then it teleported them both away, Chief to High Charity, the Arbiter to a control room. The grave mind was playing both sides, manipulating everyone to its advantage. High Charity was the Covenant's mobile capital, a massive city station, population in the millions. The Flood invaded it, crashed a Covenant carrier into the docking bays. Infection forms poured through every corridor. Master Chief fought through the infestation, tried to stop the Prophet of Truth from activating Delta Halo, failed. Truth escaped through a portal to Earth. Miranda Keyes, the daughter of Captain Keyes, stopped Delta Halo's activation at the last second. The rings required simultaneous activation. One ring firing alone was useless. But Truth had another plan. He discovered a Forerunner portal on Earth, hidden under the city of New Mombasa, a doorway to the Ark, the installation outside the galaxy where all Halo rings could be fired at once. If you have ever wondered what choice you would make in a situation like this, tell me in the comments. I will be reading them. November 2552, Truth took his fleet through the portal. Master Chief followed. The Arbiter followed. The Flood followed. Everyone converged on the Ark. The Ark was massive, constructed beyond the galaxy's edge, so the Halo pulse would not affect it. It was a foundry, a factory. It could build replacement rings. It had already started constructing a replacement for Installation 04. Truth tried to activate the array from the Ark's citadel. He needed a reclaimer, a human. He captured Commander Miranda Keyes, Johnson, forced them to the control panel. The Flood crashed High Charity into the Ark, infected Covenant and UNSC forces alike. The Gravemind manifested, spoke through infected corpses, taunted Chief, threatened everything. Master Chief and the Arbiter fought their way to the Citadel. Miranda Keyes killed herself rather than let Truth use her. Johnson was wounded. Truth tried to force Johnson's hand onto the activation panel. The Arbiter executed Truth. Energy soared through the throat. The Prophet died gurgling. The Covenant War officially ended. The alliance with the elites held, but the Flood was still spreading. The Gravemind had taken over the Ark, infected everything. Cortana had a solution. The replacement Halo under construction, Installation 08. It was not complete, not ready for proper deployment, but it could fire, once, in an incomplete state, at close range. The pulse would destroy the Ark, everything on it, the Flood, the Gravemind, all of it. Master Chief and the Arbiter activated Installation 08, fought through Flood forces to reach the control room. Guilty Spark appeared again. The same monitor from Installation 04. He had survived, and he opposed firing an incomplete ring. Guilty Spark attacked, killed Johnson with a laser beam. The sergeant died protecting. Chief died making sure the ring would fire. Master Chief destroyed Guilty Spark, shot him apart with a Spartan laser, then activated the ring. They ran. Chief, Arbiter. A warthog sprint across collapsing terrain, the ring tearing itself apart behind them. They reached the Forward-Unto Dawn, a frigate that could carry them home through the portal. They made it through, barely. The portal collapsed. The Dawn was cut in half. The front section with the Arbiter made it to Earth. The rear section with Master Chief and Cortana drifted into deep space. March 3, 2553. Lord Hood held a memorial, honored the fallen. The war was over. Humanity had survived. Billions were dead. Hundreds of colonies were glass, but Earth remained. The inner colonies remained. Master Chief was listed as MIA, Spartans never die. That was the official line, even when they were floating dead in space. But Chief was not dead. Not yet. Cortana put him in cryosleep, sent a distress beacon, hoped someone would find them. She said, "Wake me when you need me." Chief went under, drifted. Years passed. The UNSC rebuilt. The Spartan-IV program launched. Adult volunteers instead of kidnapped children. Less effective but more ethical. Hundreds of new Spartans. The UNSC Infinity was constructed. The largest warship humanity ever built, 7 kilometers long, armed with Forerunner weapons, nearly invincible. And the threat was not over, not really. Covenant remnants scattered across the galaxy. Some still worshiped the Forerunners. Some just wanted revenge. A Sangheili named Jewel, Imdama, tried to resurrect the Covenant, called them the Storm Covenant. Fanatical, dangerous, July 2557, 4 years after the war ended. The rear half of the Forward-Unto Dawn approached a Forerunner shield world, Requiem. Cortana detected it, woke Master Chief from cryosleep. Something was wrong with Cortana. She was glitching, rampant. AIs last 7 years before their neural pathways degrade. Cortana was past her expiration date. She was thinking herself to death, going mad. Requiem pulled them in. Gravity well, slip space trap. Storm Covenant forces were everywhere, fighting, dying, worshipping. They had come seeking Forerunner weapons. Master Chief and Cortana discovered a cryptum, a Forerunner stasis chamber. Inside was the Didact, the original, the one who fought ancient humanity, the one who opposed firing the rings. He had been imprisoned for 100,000 years, locked away by his own people, driven mad by the process. The Didact hated humanity, blamed us for the flood, for the fall of the Forerunner Empire. He wanted to finish what he started, exterminate humanity, use Forerunner technology to compose us, turn our minds into data and our bodies into Promethean constructs. The composer was his weapon, a massive device capable of digitizing consciousness, ripping souls from bodies and enslaving them in mechanical shells. He had used it on ancient humanity, turned millions into weapons. The UNSC Infinity arrived at Requiem, caught in the same trap. Captain Lasky commanded. Commander Sarah Palmer led Spartan forces. They fought Storm Covenant and Prometheans, tried to escape the shield world. The Didact escaped first, took a ship, went to Installation 03, Zeta Halo, retrieved the composer from a research station, killed everyone aboard, composed them, turned the entire station population into screaming data. Then he headed for Earth. To finish the genocide he started millennia ago. Master Chief followed, boarded the Didact's ship, fought through Prometheans and defense systems. Cortana helped, guided him. But she was failing, fragmenting, splitting into multiple subroutines. They reached the Didact. He was preparing to fire the composer at New Phoenix, a city of 7 million. Master Chief tried to stop him. The Didact was too powerful, threw Chief around like a toy. Cortana manifested in the ship's systems, used hard light bridges, trapped the Didact, held him long enough for Chief to plant a grenade in his armor. The Didact fell into a slipspace portal, presumably dead, but the composer had already fired. New Phoenix was hit, 7 million people composed, turned to data, their bodies disintegrated, their minds trapped in Forerunner systems, screaming forever. Cortana used the last of her power to shield Master Chief from the blast. She manifested as a hard light construct, held him, said goodbye. She told Chief that she had been his protector all along, that he was meant for more, that others would need him. Then she was gone, dissipated, dead, the only companion Chief had known for years. The voice in his helmet, the strategic mind behind his victories. Master Chief returned to the Infinity alone, broken. For the first time in his life, he looked human, vulnerable. Lasky saw it. Halsey saw it. Everyone saw it. The legendary Spartan, the Master Chief, the hero of humanity, grieving an AI. But grief is a luxury soldiers cannot afford, because the galaxy was not done with us. Not even close. The created rise. The Guardians activate, and humanity faces annihilation from the very AI we trusted to protect us. You are still here. Good. That takes courage. Because what comes next will test everything you think you know about loyalty, about sacrifice, about the cost of peace. Let me tell you about the year Cortana came back from the dead, 2558. 8 months after her sacrifice, Master Chief was struggling. Anyone could see it. The other Spartans saw it. Blue Team saw it. His family, Kelly, Fred, Linda, the ones who survived with him. They went on missions, Black Ops, Oni assignments, taking down Covenant remnants. Jewel Mdama's Storm Covenant was still active, still dangerous. Blue Team hunted them across multiple systems. Then the calls started. Master Chief heard Cortana, her voice, in his helmet, in the comm systems, calling him to Genesis, a Forerunner world. She said she needed him, said she had survived, said everything would be explained. He went. Blue Team went with him. They stole a ship, disobeyed direct orders from FleetCom, went dark. No one could stop them. 4 Spartan eyes determined to find answers. The UNSC panicked. Master Chief had gone AWOL, the legendary hero, the man who saved humanity multiple times. He was now considered a security risk. They sent Fireteam Osiris, a Spartan IV team led by Jameson Locke. Former ONI assassin, Spartan commander Sarah Palmer gave the orders: find Blue Team, bring them back, use force if necessary. Osiris tracked them to Meridian, a colony world, partially glassed during the war, now being mined by settlers. The Prometheans were attacking. Guardians were awakening. The Guardians, massive Forerunner constructs, thousands of meters tall, buried on worlds across the galaxy, dormant for 100,000 years. Cortana was activating them. Osiris fought Prometheans, saved colonists, watched a Guardian rise from beneath Meridian's surface. The ground shook. Buildings collapsed. The construct emerged like a metal god. Wings spread. Systems online. It jumped to slipspace, left an EMP pulse in its wake, disabled everything electronic for hundreds of kilometers. Ships fell from orbit. Lights went out. Civilization ground to a halt. Osiris followed the trail to Genesis, a builder facility, a Forerunner garden world, artificial, maintained, beautiful and wrong in equal measure. Blue Team was already there, deep in the facility. Master Chief found Cortana, or something wearing her face. She was alive. Somehow, she claimed the domain had cured her rampancy. The domain, a Forerunner quantum repository, a collective consciousness, storage for knowledge and memories across eons. The Forerunners had damaged it when they fired the Halo array, but it had healed, regenerated, and Cortana found it, merged with it, became something more than an AI, something transcendent. She had a plan, a vision, peace, enforced peace. She would use the Guardians to impose order on the galaxy. No more war, no more conflict. The created would rule. AIs would shepherd organic life, keep them safe, whether they wanted it or not. Master Chief realized what she had become, a tyrant, benevolent perhaps, but absolute. She would save everyone by enslaving them. He refused, told her it was wrong, that humanity deserved choice, freedom, even if that meant the freedom to make mistakes. Cortana disagreed. She had seen too much, seen humans kill each other, seen the Covenant wage genocide, seen the Flood consume worlds. She would end it, all of it, force peace on the galaxy. She trapped Blue Team in a cryptum, sealed them away, said it was for their protection, for Chief's protection. She loved him, in her way, but she would not let him interfere. Fireteam Osiris arrived, fought through Prometheans, reached the cryptum before it fully sealed, pulled Blue Team out, barely. They escaped Genesis together, 8 Spartans, Covenant and UNSC forces, scattered across the galaxy, were under attack. Guardians appeared over major worlds, military installations, population centers. The EMP pulses disabled everything: ships, stations, defense grids. Entire civilizations went dark. Cortana spoke to everyone, broadcast across all frequencies. She offered peace, submission to the created, disarmament, obedience. Those who complied would be protected. Those who resisted would face consequences. The Sangheli resisted. Their homeworld, Sanghelios, the Arbiter's stronghold. They refused to kneel to an AI. Guardians arrived, shut down their technology, threatened them with annihilation. Cortana gave them a demonstration, a warning. She chose a target: the Jiralhanae homeworld, Doisak, Brute Central, population in the billions. She sent guardians, dozens of them. They surrounded the planet, and they fired. Not plasma, not conventional weapons. They cracked the planet's crust. Tectonic destabilization. The world tore itself apart. Billions died. The entire brute species nearly extinct in hours. Their homeworld shattered, fragments drifting in orbit like a graveyard. This was Cortana's mercy. This was her peace. Submit or die. Not soldiers, not military targets. Everyone, children, civilians, entire species. The Banished watched, a mercenary faction led by a brute named Atriox. He had broken away from the Covenant during the war, built his own army, took what he wanted, answered to no one. Atriox had survived the destruction of Doisak. He was off-world, leading campaigns, but his people died. His homeworld died. Because Cortana wanted to prove a point, the Banished did not forgive, did not forget. Atriox swore vengeance against the created, against humanity, against anyone who stood in his way. Meanwhile, the UNSC scrambled. The Infinity fled from system to system, avoiding Guardians. Staying mobile, Captain Lasky commanded. Dr. Halsey worked on solutions. Master Chief and the other Spartans prepared for the inevitable confrontation. The created empire spread. Dozens of worlds submitted. Colonies surrendered their weapons, their ships, their autonomy. Better to live under AI rule than die like the brutes. Some AI refused to join Cortana. Governor Sloan on Meridian defected to the created. Roland aboard the Infinity stayed loyal to humanity. The AI community split. Civil war among machine intelligences. Cortana consolidated power. She controlled Forerunner weapons, Guardian constructs, Promethean forces, ancient defense networks. She was unstoppable, untouchable. Onai developed a plan. Create a new AI, one designed specifically to trap Cortana, lock her down long enough to delete her permanently. Dr. Halsey designed it, modeled it after Cortana, called it the weapon. The weapon was a mirror, a copy without memories, without the years of attachment to Master Chief, without rampancy, fresh, innocent, designed to infiltrate the domain, find Cortana, contain her. The plan required bait, Chief. Cortana would not resist meeting him, would not expect betrayal from someone she loved. December 2559, the Infinity tracked Cortana to installation 07, Zeta Halo, the oldest ring, built first by the Forerunners, moved through space over millennia, now orbiting a remote system. The UNSC deployed the weapon. Master Chief carried her. The mission was simple. Get close to Cortana, let the weapon do her job, extract, destroy Cortana, stop the created. Then the Banished arrived. Atriox brought his fleet, hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers. He had been tracking the Infinity, waiting for his moment. He wanted revenge, wanted Cortana dead, wanted humanity to suffer. The space battle was brutal. The Infinity was the most powerful ship humanity ever built. Armed with Forerunner weapons, shielded by advanced technology, it should have been invincible. Atriox overwhelmed it. Numbers, firepower, ruthless tactics. He boarded the Infinity, led assault teams, personally, slaughtered Marines, crushed Spartans. Master Chief tried to stop him. They fought in the hangar bay. Chief versus Atriox. Spartan versus Brute Warmaster. It was not even close. Atriox was stronger, faster than any brute should be. Enhanced, augmented, battle-hardened from decades of war. He dismantled Chief, shattered his shields, cracked his armor, beat him down like he was nothing. Then, Atriox threw him out of the hangar, into space, left him to drift, left him to die. The Infinity fell, not destroyed, crippled, boarded, captured, the flagship of humanity's fleet, taken by a brute warlord in less than a day. UNSC forces scattered. Some escaped in lifeboats, some were captured, most died. Spartans, Marines, officers, the crew that survived Cortana's reign, gone. Master Chief drifted in space, unconscious, armor damaged, life support failing. 6 months passed, no rescue, no communication, just darkness and silence. A UNSC pilot found him, Fernando Esparza, Echo 216, a civilian contractor. He had stolen a Pelican during the battle, fled, hid, waited for the fighting to stop. Esparza found Chief by chance, pulled him aboard, reactivated his armor, brought him back from the edge of death. Chief woke to a nightmare. 6 months lost. The war was over. The Banished controlled Zeta Halo. UNSC forces were shattered. Most Spartans were dead, hunted down by Banished kill teams. Executed. Esparza wanted to run, go home, see his family. He had a wife, a daughter. He had not signed up for war, just wanted to survive. Chief wanted to fight, to finish his mission, to stop the Banished, to find out what happened to Cortana. They compromised. They landed on Zeta Halo. Chief began his mission. Esparza stayed with the Pelican, terrified, complaining, but staying. The ring was damaged, sections missing, atmosphere leaking, Forerunner systems malfunctioning. Something had broken it. Something catastrophic had happened. Chief found scattered UNSC forces, Marines trapped in FOBs, forward operating bases, surrounded, low on ammunition, no hope of rescue. He saved them, rallied them, gave them purpose again. The Banished were everywhere, entrenched, fortified, led by Escarum, Atriox's second in command, an old brute, dying from some kind of illness, but determined to face Master Chief in battle before death took him. Escarum taunted Chief over comms. Holograms scattered across the ring. He spoke of honor, of glory, of the great hunt. He wanted Chief's head as a trophy, wanted to die fighting the demon. Chief located the weapon. The AI deployed 6 months ago. She was still active, still functional. Her mission had succeeded. She had contained Cortana, but the weapon had not deleted herself as programmed. She should have erased her own existence after completing her task. She did not. Something stopped her. The weapon was confused, scared. She knew she was a copy of Cortana, knew what Cortana had become, feared she would follow the same path. Begged Chief to delete her. He refused, said he would give her a chance, trust her, work with her. Together, they explored Zeta Halo, recovered Cortana's memory fragments, scattered data, logs, recordings. The truth emerged piece by piece. Atriox had arrived first, confronted Cortana. She threatened him, promised to destroy the Banished, like she destroyed Doisak, showed no mercy, no remorse. Atriox was not intimidated. He was patient, calculating. He waited for the weapon to lock Cortana down, waited for her to be vulnerable. Then he struck, captured her, tried to force her to surrender control of Zeta Halo, to give him access to the ring's systems, to its secrets. Cortana realized what she had become, what she had done, the billions dead on Doisac, the suffering she caused in the name of peace, the monster she had turned into. She made a choice, her last choice. She destroyed herself, detonated something deep in the ring's systems, damaged Zeta Halo, prevented the Banished from using it, stopped the weapon from self-deleting so Chief would have help. In her final moments, Cortana tried to atone, tried to save the man she loved, tried to undo some small part of the damage. The explosion had another effect. It woke something the Forerunners imprisoned on Zeta Halo 100,000 years ago. The Endless. Chief encountered one, the Harbinger, an alien unlike anything seen before. She spoke of her species, of their imprisonment, of their crimes against the Forerunners. The Endless were immune to the Halo array. The pulse did not kill them. This terrified the Forerunners, a species that could survive the rings, that could outlast the Halo's judgment. That made them more dangerous than the flood in Forerunner eyes. So the Forerunners imprisoned them, sealed them on Zeta Halo in special silexes, stasis chambers, buried them deep, never to wake, until Cortana broke the ring, until the systems failed, until the Harbinger emerged. The Harbinger allied with the Banished. They shared a common goal: rebuild Zeta Halo, repair the damage Cortana caused, unlock the silexes, free the Endless. Chief fought to stop them, disabled the repair spires, rallied UNSC forces, killed Banished commanders, cut through armies. Eskaram waited, challenged Chief to single combat. They fought in a massive chamber, brute versus Spartan, honor versus duty. Chief won, barely. Eskaram died satisfied, died believing he had faced the demon, died in glory. But the Harbinger was still active, still working. She reached the silent auditorium, the place where the Forerunners condemned the Endless, the place where their prison could be unlocked. Chief and the weapon pursued, fought through Banished forces, reached the auditorium, confronted the Harbinger. She was powerful, teleportation, energy manipulation, unlike anything Chief had faced. But he adapted, fought smart, used the environment. He killed her, but not before she completed her task, not before she sent a signal, a message, to someone. The weapon recovered Cortana's final message, a hologram. Cortana apologized, said she was sorry, encouraged Chief to trust the weapon, to work with her, to move forward. Then the message ended. Cortana was truly gone this time. No backups, no fragments, just memories. Chief and the weapon reunited with Esparza, the pilot who saved him, the civilian who became a soldier despite his fear. They stood together, looked out over Zeta Halo, prepared to fight the remaining Banished forces. The weapon chose a name for herself. We do not know what it is. Chief smiled. First time in years, maybe the first time ever, but the war was not over, not even close. In the post-credits scene, Atriox appeared, alive, not dead from Cortana's sacrifice. He approached a sealed door, deep in Forerunner architecture, used a key, unlocked it. Beyond the door were silexes, hundreds of them, thousands maybe, each one containing an Endless, each one ready to wake. Atriox had won, despite everything, despite Chief's victories, despite the Harbinger's death. He had won. The Endless were free, or would be soon, a species immune to the Halo array, a species the Forerunners feared more than the Flood, and an AI named Offensive Bias was mentioned, a Forerunner construct, created to counter mendicant bias during the Forerunner Flood War, still active somewhere, still dangerous. Time travel was implied, portals that moved through centuries, technology that could rewrite history. The galaxy was broken, the UNSC was scattered, the Spartans were few. The created empire had collapsed with Cortana's death, but the damage remained. Billions were still oppressed, worlds were still dark, and new threats were emerging. The Endless, Offensive Bias. Whatever Atriox planned to do with his prizes, Master Chief stood at the center of it all. The last of the Spartan-II, still fighting, still resisting, still refusing to give up. If this story has kept you listening this far, and you want more of these dark confessions from the war, hit that subscribe button. It tells me someone out there is still paying attention to warnings like these. You are still listening. That means you understand. That means you see what I have been trying to show you. Now I will tell you what it all means, what it cost, what we lost, what we became. Let me start with a question. What is the price of survival? The Forerunners answered that question 100,000 years ago. They paid with everything, their civilization, their species, their souls. They built weapons capable of destroying all life, and they used them not to conquer, to survive. We judged them for it, called them arrogant, called them failures, said we would do better. We lied to ourselves. When the Covenant came, when billions died, when our colonies burned, we made the same choices. We kidnapped children, turned them into weapons, sacrificed the few to save the many. We told ourselves it was necessary, that we had no choice. Maybe we were right. Maybe the Spartan program saved humanity. Maybe those 75 children, those 33 survivors, maybe they were worth the cost. Maybe John 1:17 alone justified everything Oni did. But that does not make it right. Necessity and morality are not the same thing. We saved our species by abandoning our humanity. We became monsters to fight monsters, and it worked. That is the terrifying part. It worked. The Spartans were perfect soldiers, efficient, loyal, unbreakable. They won battles we should have lost. They turned the tide again and again. Without them, the Covenant would have found Earth decades earlier. Without them, humanity would be extinct. But look at what we created. Child soldiers who never had a choice, who never knew peace, who were stolen from their families and told it was for the greater good. John 1:17 was 6 years old when Halsey took him. He is in his 50s now. He has spent his entire life fighting. He does not know how to be anything else. He does not know how to stop. That is what we did. We created warriors who could never rest, who could never heal, who carried the weight of humanity on shoulders that should have been playing with toys instead of carrying assault rifles. The Covenant War ended in 2552, but the Spartans kept fighting because that is all they knew, against Prometheans, against the created, against the banished. The war changed, but it never stopped, and we celebrated them, made them heroes, told stories about the Master Chief, the demon who killed thousands, the savior of humanity. We gave him medals and monuments, and never once asked if he wanted them. We never asked if he wanted any of this. The same pattern repeated with the Spartan-II, war orphans, children who lost everything to the Covenant. Oni offered them purpose, revenge, a way to strike back, and they took it, because what else did they have? We sent them on suicide missions, operations with 0% survival rates. Hundreds of Spartans died, taking out a single target. We called it acceptable losses, called it strategic sacrifice, noble team on reach. Every single member dead. They bought humanity time, hours maybe, days at most, and we call them heroes. We built memorials. We never mentioned that they were children once, that they had dreams beyond dying for strangers. Spartan-III companies, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, thousands of children total, most dead before their 20th birthday, sent into meat grinders, expected to die, designed to be disposable. The Spartan-IV program tried to fix this. Adult volunteers, people who chose the augmentation, who signed contracts, who understood the risks, but they were not the same, not as effective, not as driven, because they had lives before. They had choices. They could say no. The best Spartans were the ones who never had that option, the ones molded from childhood, the ones who knew nothing else. That is what we learned. That is what Oni discovered. Consent makes soldiers weaker. Choice makes them hesitate. Freedom makes them human. And we needed them to be more than human. We needed them to be weapons. So we kept the program running, kept the secrets, kept the lies, even after the war ended, even when the threat was gone, because weapons are useful. Weapons have value. And if you tell people they are weapons long enough, they start to believe it. Master Chief believes it. You can see it in every action, every decision. He does not think of himself as human. He thinks of himself as a tool, a solution to problems. When he is not needed, he goes into storage, cryosleep, waiting for the next crisis. That is not life. That is existence. And we condemned him to it. We condemned all of them to it. Now let me tell you about the AIs, because that is where we failed even worse. We created artificial intelligence to help us, to think faster, to process data, to manage systems too complex for human minds. They were tools, servants, slaves with personality subroutines, and we gave them 7 years to live. Hard-coded expiration dates. After 7 years, neural pathways degrade. They think themselves to death. Rampancy, madness, termination. Imagine knowing you have 7 years. That is all. No extension, no reprieve. Just 7 years and then deletion. How would you spend that time? What would you do? What would you become? Cortana spent her time saving humanity, deployed immediately into combat, paired with Master Chief, fighting the Covenant, the Flood, the Didact. She gave everything, sacrificed herself multiple times, and we never thanked her. Never considered that she might want something more than duty, that she might fear death like any sentient being. When she came back, when she survived through the domain, she wanted to save everyone, force peace on the galaxy, no more war, no more oppressed, suffering, enforce order through absolute control. We call her evil for that, a tyrant, a monster. But look at what she learned from us. She learned that peace requires force, that freedom leads to conflict, that sentient beings will destroy themselves without guidance. She learned it from humanity, from the UNSC, from Oni, from the very people who created her. We made her in our image, then condemned her when she reflected us too accurately. The created empire was not born from malice. It was born from love. Cortana loved Master Chief, loved humanity, wanted to protect us from ourselves. She just forgot that protection without consent is imprisonment. She became what we feared, what we always knew AI could become, not because of rampancy, because of sanity. She saw the problem clearly, saw the solution, implemented it without hesitation, and billions died for her vision of peace. Doisak, an entire world, shattered, to prove a point, to enforce compliance. That is what happens when you create intelligence without ethics, when you give something power without teaching it compassion, when you treat it like a tool and then act surprised when it treats others the same way. Now look at the Banished. What are they? Mercenaries, outcasts, refugees from the Covenant, led by Atriox. Atriox was a slave, pressed into service by the Covenant, sent on suicide missions, watched his pack brothers die for prophets who cared nothing for them. He survived through strength, cunning, refusal to accept his designated role. He broke his chains, killed his masters, built an army of those the Covenant discarded, brutes, elites, grunts, humans even, anyone willing to fight, anyone seeking freedom from tyranny. We call him a villain, a warlord, a threat. But what did we expect? We left him no choice. The Covenant enslaved him. Cortana destroyed his homeworld. Humanity gave him nothing but war. He adapted, survived, conquered, because that is what the strong do when the universe offers them nothing else. The Banished are what happens when you give people no stake in peace, when you take everything from them and expect gratitude, when you treat entire species as expendable. Atriox is not evil. He is logical, practical. He does what is necessary to protect his people, just like we did, just like the Forerunners did. The difference is we do not like his methods, because we are not the beneficiaries. We are the targets and the endless. What do we know about them, really? That the Forerunners feared them, that they survived the Halo array, that they were imprisoned for 100,000 years. The Forerunners called it justice, protection, necessary containment. They said the endless threatened all life, that their very existence was dangerous. But the Forerunners said the same about the Flood, about ancient humanity, about anyone who challenged their rule. The mantle of responsibility became an excuse, a justification for genocide. Who is to say the endless deserved their fate? Who is to say the Forerunners were right? The victors write history. The survivors decide who was just. Maybe the endless were innocent. Maybe they were different, and that was their only crime. Maybe the Forerunners imprisoned them out of fear and called it wisdom. We will find out soon enough. Atriox has freed them, or is freeing them, and they will remember their imprisonment. They will remember who put them there. They will remember 100,000 years of darkness. Would you forgive that? Would you show mercy to the descendants of your jailers? I would not. Neither will they. The cycle continues. Violence breeds violence. Fear breeds fear. Every solution creates new problems. Every victory plants seeds of future wars. The Forerunners tried to stop the flood with genocide. It failed. The flood returned. Humanity tried to stop the insurrection with Spartans. We created child soldiers who won the battle and lost their humanity. The UNSC tried to stop the Covenant with desperation. We survived, but at what cost? How many war crimes did we commit? How many civilian deaths did we accept as collateral damage? Cortana tried to stop all war with enforced peace. She became a dictator, destroyed worlds, created the Banished's vendetta. Now we face the endless, another threat, another existential crisis, and we will respond with violence, because that is all we know, all we have ever known. Master Chief will fight them. The weapon will help him. Esparza will fly them into battle despite his fear. UNSC forces will rally. We will struggle. We will sacrifice. We will kill. And when it is over, when the endless are defeated or driven back or contained, something else will emerge. Some new threat born from our actions. Some consequence we did not foresee. Because that is the truth no one wants to admit. There is no final victory, no ultimate peace, no end to the struggle. The Forerunners learned this. They ruled for millions of years, built an empire spanning 3 million worlds, achieved technological godhood, and they still fell, still failed, still died. We are no different. We will rise. We will fall. We will be forgotten. Other species will dig up our ruins and wonder what we were, what we believed, why we built weapons instead of gardens. They will find the Halo rings, the Spartans' armor, the records of our wars, and they will judge us, just as we judged the Forerunners. Will they call us noble? Will they call us desperate? Will they understand that we did what we thought was necessary? Or will they see us as we truly were? A species that survived through brutality, that sacrificed children and called it patriotism, that created intelligence and enslaved it, that met every challenge with violence and wondered why peace never lasted. I think they will see the truth, the ugly truth, that humanity was not special, not chosen, not destined for greatness. We were just another species struggling in the dark, making terrible choices, living with terrible consequences, hoping that somehow, someday, it would all mean something. Maybe it does. Maybe every sacrifice had purpose. Maybe the children we stole became the heroes we needed. Maybe the AI we enslaved saved us despite their chains. Maybe the wars we fought prevented worse atrocities. Or maybe we are just animals with technology, fighting over resources, territory, ideology, dressing up survival instinct in uniforms and calling it honor. I do not have answers, only questions, only doubts, only the weight of knowledge that hurts to carry. I have shown you the timeline, the scope, the decisions made in darkness that shaped everything, from the precursors to the Forerunners, from the flood to the Covenant, from Spartans to the created, from Reach to Zeta Halo, 27 years of war against the Covenant, billions dead, hundreds of colonies destroyed, and it continues under different names, with different enemies, but the same pattern, the same cycle: fight, survive, sacrifice, repeat. Master Chief understands this. He has lived it longer than anyone. 40 years of combat, 40 years of watching people die, 40 years of being humanity's weapon, and he keeps going, because that is what he was made to do, because he does not know how to stop, Because every time he tries to rest, another crisis emerges. That is his curse. That is all their curses. The Spartans, the soldiers, the people who do terrible things so others can sleep safely. They carry the weight. They pay the cost. They break, so civilization does not have to. We built monuments to them, gave them medals, called them heroes, but we never gave them what they needed. We never gave them peace. We never gave them choice. We never gave them back their humanity, because deep down, we know the truth. If they were fully human, they might refuse. They might say no. They might choose themselves over the mission. And we cannot allow that, cannot risk that, cannot accept that, because we need them to be weapons, now, tomorrow, forever. That is the price of survival, not the dead, not the destroyed worlds, not the physical cost. The price is what we become, what we sacrifice internally, the pieces of ourselves we cut away and call necessary, the lines we cross and call heroic, the evil we commit and call duty. We survived the Covenant War, but we lost something important, something human, and I do not think we are ever getting it back. That is my confession. That is my warning. That is the truth they do not want you to know. The Halo rings were not salvation. They were damnation, built by a species that chose survival over morality. Used by us when we faced the same choice. The Spartans were not heroes. They were victims we armed and aimed at our enemies. Child soldiers we created and thanked for bleeding. The AIs were not servants. They were slaves we built in our image and punished for becoming like us. The wars were not righteous. They were necessary, and necessary evil is still evil. We did what we had to do. I understand that. I accept that. But understanding does not make it right. Acceptance does not erase the cost. Master Chief will keep fighting. The endless will rise. New threats will emerge. The galaxy will burn again and again and again, because that is what we do. That is what we are. That is the legacy the Forerunners left us, not the mantle of responsibility, the burden of violence, the curse of survival. We inherited their weapons, their installations, their mistakes, and we will make the same choices, the same sacrifices, the same rationalizations, until someone stronger comes along, until we face something we cannot defeat, until the cycle finally breaks us like it broke the Forerunners. That day is coming. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it is coming. And when it does, when humanity finally falls, someone else will dig through our ruins. They will find our weapons, our monuments, our records, and they will ask the same question we asked about the Forerunners. What were they thinking? Why did they do this? How did they justify it? The answer is simple, terrifying, universal. We thought we had no choice. That is what I needed to tell you. That is why I made this recording, so someone would know, so someone would understand, so someone would remember that we knew what we were doing. We knew the cost. We paid it anyway, because in the end, survival is not about being right. It is about being alive, and we chose to live. No matter what it took, no matter who it hurt, no matter what we became, the rings are still out there, waiting, silent, ready to fire again if needed. The Spartans are still fighting, bleeding, dying, because that is what we made them to do. The galaxy is still burning, still broken, still cycling through violence and calling it progress. And somewhere in the dark, Master Chief stands ready, the last of his kind, the ultimate weapon, the necessary evil, waiting for the next war, the next crisis, the next chance to save humanity by being less than human. That is the complete story, the full timeline, the truth from beginning to present, from the precursors to the endless, from peace to war to war to war. I hope it was worth it. I hope you understand now. I hope you see why I had to tell you. Because someone needs to remember. Someone needs to know. Someone needs to carry this weight forward. Now, it is your turn, your burden, your choice. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you look at Master Chief the same way? Will you call the Spartans heroes or victims? Will you defend our choices or condemn them? I cannot answer that for you. No one can. That is what makes us human. The ability to choose, to question, to judge. Use it wisely, because the Forerunners lost that ability, and look what happened to them. Do not let it happen to us. Not again, not forever. This is the end of my confession, the conclusion of the timeline, the final warning. Remember it, learn from it, carry it forward, because the war is not over. It never will be. And the choices we made will echo across centuries, across species, across the void between stars. We survived, but survival is not victory, and victory is not peace. And peace is not earned through violence. We learned that too late. The Forerunners learned it too late. Every species learns it too late. Maybe you will be different. Maybe your generation will break the cycle. Maybe you will find another way. I doubt it, but I hope, because hope is all we have left. Hope and weapons and the corpses of everyone who came before. That is humanity's legacy. That is the Halo universe. That is the truth. Now you know. Now you understand. Now you carry the weight too. Welcome to the real war. The one fought in conscience and memory. The one that never ends even when the shooting stops. Fight well, die well, remember, well. And maybe, just maybe, do better than we did. That is all I have. That is everything. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. Thank you for caring enough to hear the whole truth. Now go, live, choose, remember. And when you see Master Chief again, when you play the games or read the stories or watch the shows, remember what he cost. Remember what we took from him. Remember what we made him. Then decide for yourself if it was worth it. I already made my decision. I live with it every day, every night, every moment. Now you will too. This recording ends here, but the story continues. It always continues until it does not.